Welcome to WKIT-DG Radio on the Pyramid One World Radio Network. We are your source for the latest news, music, and entertainment from around the world. Our programming is designed to keep you informed and entertained with a variety of content that will keep you engaged. Tune in to hear interviews with your favorite artists, exclusive live performances, and more. So sit back and relax as WKIT-DG Radio brings you the best in global radio entertainment.
Welcome our dynamic duo Jamie and Maggie Clark, world-class psychic and tarot readers. In their show tonight, A View of Humanity, Jamie and Maggie will be giving you information that can and will change the way you look at life and the world. They will be touching on unconditional love, which is a type of love that is not based on any conditions or expectations. It is a love that is given freely and without any limitations or restrictions. It is a love that is not dependent on the actions or behaviors of the person receiving the love. Instead, it is a love that is given simply because the giver wants to show love and affection to the other person. Examples of unconditional love can include the love between a parent and child, or the love between close friends or partners who accept each other completely, flaws and all. But will we find someone to hold our hand through life? A soulmate is often described as a person with whom one has a deep and natural affinity, connection, or bond. It is believed that a soulmate is someone who is ideally suited to another person as a romantic partner, friend, or companion. Some people believe that soulmates are destined to meet and that their connection is spiritual or even predestined. However, the concept of soulmates is subjective and can vary depending on personal beliefs and experiences. And don't forget, psychic and tarot readings can provide several benefits, including gaining insight into one's life, reducing stress and anxiety, and making sense of things. Tarot readings can help in decision-making and setting intentions for the day, which can lead to more clarity and mindfulness in daily life. Additionally, psychic readings can provide a sense of support and guidance during difficult times. Everyone put your hands together and welcome Jamie and Maggie Clark.
Oh, yeah.
Great intro. I love that. And I love that you're writing these too. Beautifully written. Nice job.
They're not easy because
I bet.
I need a ream of paper just to go through these things. But, you know, it's kind of crazy though in a way in it because, you know, for years and years, I mean, you and I have been together for a long time.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of things that you have said and a lot of shows that I go back to. And that from like 2000, was it 7, 8, or
Yeah.
no? You know, down back 2000.
Right around there, yeah.
And you know,
like 13 years.
Yeah, you go back in those things, and some of the things that were said, if you put them all together, that's what you get. You know,
Excellent.
I mean, you sit there taking note. I feel like a jerk. You know what I mean? It's like, here I am. I'm sitting there taking. Oh, I got to see that one. Yeah,
That's great though. That's smart. Right. So you don't have to worry about it. It's just there. Pick it up, man. That's beautiful.
The part is that so many people, I don't know what it is. I swear to you, I don't know what it is. People are disconnecting themselves with being human. I don't know why. I swear to you. I mean, it's, you know, somebody was working it this morning. And of course, everybody that's what everybody do. You know, they get on their cell phones and they walk around like this all day. And I'm like, I'm not the guy, you know, for the cell phones and everything else. I mean, let's face it, there is a time and a place. But if you're going to text somebody, text them. Like, okay, the heck with you, go stick it in. And I'm serious. I mean, if you're going to tell somebody off, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, yes,
But
sir.
my biggest thing is, if you really, really want to get together with somebody, you really want to make a connection or anything else, and that, or you want to make some kind of an impression on the person that you're talking to, call them. Call them. I would tell them, say, yo, bro.
I think a contributing factor as over the years with that COVID, it separated everybody. And
Yeah.
so many people got used to being on their phones or on the computer that they lost a lot of the people skills. I'm like, remember old school communication, talking? Here you go. God bless it. But they've gotten so desensitized and so pulled back that a lot of people aren't willing to try to find themselves within life. They feel sometimes that they've lost themselves to it, so they'll just exist and not live. And so it's that kind of connection that I've seen a lot of people, because for me, I'm always very personable. It's just be you. But it's also that there were times during this COVID where people were wearing the masks and wouldn't even look at me. I'm like, really? I'm saying hello or whatever the case is, and you can't. I'm gonna get it's like, well, okay. Again, when those patterns are pushed consistently enough, people will start to accept it to a certain extent, one way or another. So I feel like that's just a contributing factor. People have gotten so used to being in their own little world that they're in their own little world. Not only that, the AI, and well, AI is going to run the planet, but that whatever the goggle things are, those computer things, those are giving people another life to live. It's very interesting. I don't know about those things, but I've heard a lot that people are on those and they're creating their new realities and whatever it is. I'm like, wow, that's when people start pulling back to go, oh, you're just human, whatever. And they've got a connection to the technology, to the mechanical aspect.
You have to remember now, that's a virtual reality. That is not real. So it's bad enough they're on these things.
Yeah, but that's the point.
That's another virtual real reality. I mean, it's like if God forbid you take away somebody's phone. I mean, you better hope they don't have a gun on them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I'm dead serious. Or a tennis player, whack. I'm whatever. But the idea of the thing is, we've built a. How would you say it? I mean, in my own words, right? It's like humanity painted itself in a corner. I'm serious. I mean, it's got nowhere else to go except up. I mean, seriously. I mean, they don't have. There is no choice for a right and a wrong anymore. It's what you want. What do you want out of your life? What do you want out of the things that are around you? What do you want? What do you expect from your life?
Right. And can you even expect anything? A lot of people are like, if I'm lucky, I'll.
Yeah, bingo. See, that's it. It's lethargic. It's a lethargic
existence.
Yes. Get, exactly. From all these people, it's like they're sleeping with their eyes open on 2 feet.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm serious. I mean, and what we've done, and we even did the show from Brazil over the weekend on Sunday.
I'm gonna have to listen to that.
It was good. We had a good time with that one. Believe me, it's in Rumble.
Cool. Beautiful.
I think it's in there twice.
Wow, that is a good show.
I was nervous, but But on the other hand, I mean, I'm serious. When we were talking about everything that's happening around us in the world and what they're doing, and they're doing the biodome, which is also something that I would have to get him on the show to explain it to you.
Can you fill me in and the listeners? What exactly are they referring to as the biodome? What is this going to be?
I would rather have him on the show.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm ignorant, so I don't know.
I'm just not.
That's cool. Yeah, if you don't know, don't talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? My foot tastes terrible. I mean, but she cracked her up.
Yeah.
But anyway, what we were talking. I mean, other people there and everything else. And that it was out in the middle. I mean, we're talking about on a how would you say it? Isolated island.
Mm-hmm.
and there's like green net all over the place, and then you got the mountains in the back and the whole 9 yards. I mean, it was like, this is Brazil. So I mean, it was like you see all these people, and you're talking to all these people, and the people are like, oh. I mean, it was pretty good. But so we had then we had a second show, and he's going to come back. I think it's around the 18th or somewhere around. No, maybe it's the 20 something.
And can you share just a little bit of the conversation of what was being communicated with? Because I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. So I'm like, oh man, give me some flavor.
All right. Let me see if I can not say something stupid. It's like I'm serious. I mean, let's make yeah. Well, she's got the right idea. Don't forget to paint the nails though before you do it, because
I do.
Yeah. Oh, everybody's doing it today.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Biodome is more or less of a spiritual thing. I mean, it's a reality, another reality, an entry into different dimensions and things. They also did a little bit of Wahusa, whatever that stuff is.
So will it be a physical location that people can go to, like a biodome type of thing, or
spiritual location?
Okay,
it's a spiritual location. When you listen to the tapes, and then you'll get the idea.
Cool.
It's totally amazing, and that's why I'd like to get him on the show so we could talk to him a little bit more and poke some more stuff into him.
Excellent.
And it was good. It was really good. We had a good night. Like he talks about you all the time, and I was telling the people that were there about you through him while we were there, and like this, what we have here between us and what the people are listening to or they're watching. I always tell people that, come in and see these shows. I say to them, hey, look, I'm not telling you to listen to exactly what we're saying. You listen to what works for you, because not everything works for everyone exactly the same way. So therefore, you want to pick, this is, I mean, it's an apple tree. Take the best apples. I'm not telling Adam and Eve, and that with the thing with the snake and the whole 9 yards. You don't have to do that stuff. But then this is Florida, so who knows? but I'm serious. I got a black one that goes behind his house every day.
Beautiful.
And when I was talking to them, they were all looking at me like sideways, like, huh? What do you mean? What are you talking about? And I always tell them, I always guide them right into YouTube or Rumble, to listen to the show. And I say, go down there, listen to them, or I'll put it on my show, my phone, and we do have a speaker in the office that we can do what's a black Bluetooth?
Yeah, yep.
Thing?
Yellow teeth, Bluetooth, whatever.
While we're working, and it's going in the background. You hear the show.
I always say that the very technology that's bringing the world together is separating us. Yeah. It's just crazy. It's like the oxymoron of life to go, no, the whole world's interconnected. However, each one of us are being left alone to find ourselves, which I feel like is a big portion of some of what has gone on over the past number of years due to other circumstances that were kind of there. So it's very interesting.
I did have, though, over the weekend, and we have a phone. We got 2 anonymous.
Oh, cool.
Yes, I'm ready.
Anonymous. I remember. God, that takes me back to yesteryear. That's funny.
Oh yeah. She's crying. What's this? Anyway, the thing is that when we're talking about biodome things and everything else, that the actual biodome is an actual dome. And it's an environmental thing for climate change and all that kind of stuff. But you can it's the same thing that they're testing here on Earth that they're going to use on Mars. The biodome he's talking about, though, is a different thing. It's protective of your spiritual beliefs, the actual soul It's a soul thing, where you can talk anywhere, anytime, to anybody, and you can also move from one place to another like that.
Yep.
And that's what he was talking about, and that's what all these people. I mean, there were like 30, 35 people there.
Excellent. Very good.
And
That's why I was curious to go, what exactly is this going to mean?
They came in by boat. I mean, to the island.
Beautiful.
I mean, I was like, yeah.
But look, people are interested. If you can get that information, give them a choice that, hey, if it feels good, check it out. If not, don't. But when you can have that connection, bring these people together, that more often than not, they don't come together unless you're able to bring this to them, that has become the convenience of communication as well. That's why I'm saying it's their own world. They don't have to go out anywhere, do anything. They can just tune into their computer, their TV, phone, whatever it is.
But it's only theory until it's proven. Like until you see someone teleport or see someone shapeshift or see someone do those things, then it is a theory of a biodome, like a theory like, hey, this is the human potential. But how do you actually live it if you don't know how to get there vibrationally or have an example to follow? So I think there's like the concept sounds like amazing, but then there's also a step stage of how is it actually going to come to be? Because until I can see you bilocate or translocate or teleport or do that, it is still just a theoretical. And there's something inside of me that's always leery about these things, because it's like, you just don't want to jump on the next religion or the next fad or the next like spirituality without being concrete. Now, do I believe that teleportation and bilocation is possible? Abso-freaking-lutely, because I've seen it with my own eyes. But for the mass public, like you can't just throw them into this quote unquote spiritual bubble and expect them to all play nicely if they don't know how to play nicely, if they don't have examples to follow. So that's always the question in the back of my head is, what allows people to actually expand consciously and vibrationally, energetically, to be able to match that vibration of what they're creating. So it's interesting. I'm curious to see how it will pan out.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really funny too. They're in a place where it's an energy spot, and it's more or less like the void, area and things. Like you can walk in certain areas down in Brazil that you feel funny.
Cool.
Like you tingle.
Like different dimensional portals type of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And, when they do their little thing with groups and everything else down there, I mean, you couldn't be in a better place other than like Arizona or whatever. Now you got the places there. You got portholes there.
Yep.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's basically the same thing. The only thing is, though, people are becoming more attuned to the idea of using this or learning from it.
Excellent.
But don't forget, if this is really, really what they say it is. All right, now I'm going by Maggie's, show me or don't show me.
Right.
If this is real, and the theory is not a theory but a reality, then that would mean that we can go forward and backward in a real-time sense.
As we perceive time. Yeah.
Yeah, not just, I mean, I've seen and heard a million people talk about, not a million, maybe 500,000, talk about time and time not being real. Then again, on the other hand, it's not.
Right.
Quantum physics says it's not. They have proved it's not.
Not only that, I'm like, really? Daylight savings time? Really? Is that really? It's that kind of, look at how they can share it up. And well, doesn't that mean that we're in the future then? Because if they adjusted it, that means, what if it's all happening now? I'm kind of what I feel like you're saying, and that is, to me, there is no time. It is all happening right here, right now.
Right.
Well,
next time somebody says time saving, ask them for their account number.
Yeah, oh, that's good. I like that. What's she PIN number?
Yeah, exactly. I want to see where you saved it.
Yeah, that's very cool. But I think that this dynamic of separation is starting to bring people together. It's starting to give them ideas of going, everyone's separate for the most part. So how can we start bringing things together? Like the shows that you share and give people an opportunity to listen to. Other aspects, the Biodome and many other organizations are starting to flourish. They're starting to come out of the woodwork, so to speak, and out of left field that a lot of people didn't even know existed until things have moved along to go, oh, I didn't know that. So it becomes a little bit more of an acclamation. Because on average, I think, like I do, what we don't understand, we tend to fear. And usually what we tend to fear, we want to crucify. So it's giving people an opportunity to find themselves within life. And like I always say, just for me, the computer is like we have an IP address on the internet web. We have an SP address, a soul print address on the universal web.
And Maggie is ready to burst.
I'm very patient. Very patient.
I saw you were collecting your thoughts, and you were saying, "I'm not going to lose this idea because he's talking next to me."
Well, and on a soul vibration, you have chosen to be on this planet in a three-dimensional reality that we deal with linear time and all these things. So the biodome is a great idea, yet is this really part of your soul's journey? I guess if you choose it is. And how do you live without time and with that awareness? You really have to connect to your soul, connect to your oversoul, connect to the all that is, connect to the oneness of reality to even live somewhat like time doesn't exist, in a three-dimensional body. So we do have some, and I don't want to call it a body limitations, because again, I believe shapeshifting is real. I believe that you can transform this. It's just pure energy. Yet, what is the soul's purpose and why are you here? And if you know that, and you've connected to your oversoul and you've connected to the oneness of all that is, then I feel like you don't need a biodome. You already have that little biodome within yourself. Like you create that because we're all one, and that there's a knowingness. So you don't need to go to a location. You don't need to have a biodome. You don't need to have whatever it is they're calling whatever, because when you connect to being all that is, there is no time and there's no going somewhere or connecting to something. It just is, and you just be. And so there's always this weird, like, I don't get it. Like, why would I go to a location? That just sounds too much like an organized religion to me for me to want to be like, oh, okay, cool. No, not cool. Like, if we are all one and I have this within me, then I have this everywhere that I go, whether I'm sitting on this chair or if I'm walking out the door or if I'm in Japan or Brazil or anywhere. And so I want to just throw that out there, because those connections of being one and connected and no time existing and connecting to the eternal aspect of who you are, this is an inside journey. You're not going to find it outside of yourself. You're not going to find it. Now, I love that communities gather to support those energetic dynamics. And when people gather, we do expand exponentially and consciously as well. So in that respect, it's a beautiful concept that you can come and expand consciously, because when we're expanding consciously and it's, quadrupling and quintupling and exponentially expanding, it will help the growth of humanity and the expansion of consciousness too. So I'm kind of like juggling this idea back and forth going, do I like it? Do I not like it? It's really cool in the sense that it brings people together and expands consciousness that way. But then are we looking outside of ourselves for something we should be looking inside of ourselves? That's where my head goes in all of this.
Right.
Yeah.
The actual theme of the meeting was unconditional love, and that was the theme of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, seriously. I mean, I've seen people all over the place. I've been in meetings. I've given meetings. I've given presentations all over the place. But these people were genuinely so happy it wasn't funny. And look at where they were. I mean, really, you're in the middle of nowhere, okay? And you're coming in with a boat. I mean, I saw, there's pictures, it's on the video, of the people going down to the water to get in the boats.
See, that's the point. You're kind of validating. It doesn't matter where you go. It's what's within.
That's right. It's what is inside the person. During one of our shows, and that somewhere, and then I told you that I've been to Egypt. I felt the sand. I touched the rock. I smelled the river and everything. I did all those things. My human body was probably snoring somewhere, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. But what if
My-
you were on that quantum level, the unification
Exactly.
of all the experience?
My soul wanted to. I've never done it to that degree since that one time. So, I mean, it's not something
But you now know it's possible.
oh, yeah. Oh, baby. Let me tell you, I mean, you know, you have, I mean, them are big rocks.
I bet. Yeah.
And I didn't realize until I'm standing next to one, you know, it's like, whoa.
But look at the technology, what they were able to do back then, thousands of years ago. That kind of an ability of steadfast determination gave it. And what if there's a lot more to the pyramids than what the average person realizes? What if they are energy facilitators and orchestrators and all that kind of
Yeah,
good
that's
stuff?
what they're studying right now is
Oh,
the fact that all these years they've been saying, well, we discovered. Well, they really didn't. There's more to it, you know, and they're
yes.
just learning lately.
And that's why they're all over the world. It's not just in Egypt. They're going to
Yeah.
find them in the oceans, on other countries. Like, that's weird. Like, yeah, it's unified.
That's another thing. Nobody thought that anything would be found in an ocean. I mean, I had people say to me, like, well, you're crazy, man. It's not in the ocean. I said, don't want to make a bet. I said, do you think I said that the water was always there? Maybe it was somewhere else. It could have moved.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't there at all.
Shifted the access. Yep.
Exactly. I mean, we don't know these things. I mean, they're pulling stuff out of the ocean that are billions of years old. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
What in God's name was it doing in the ocean? Hmm?
Very good.
And at the same time, and that too, in Egypt, they have that area that's around the pyramids. That area, they found more things that are under the ground than is over the ground.
Yeah.
Now,
and how many things have been buried?
right, and there's passages that are under the Sphinx and are under the pyramids.
Mhm.
So where were they going, huh? I mean, we don't know all these things, and there's too many things in there for us to forget about it. I mean, if you want to, and have one of these days, then I'll get you my whole ready thing that I did.
Yeah, let's do
all
that.
the facts, and I'm telling you, it'll blow your mind. And we've had a couple of ghosts. Actually, they were a ghost for a while, but we've had guests that were on here and that were actually there that are archaeologists and things.
Oh, very cool.
They were on my show and that before, and I see them on the History Channel every once in a while. And I'm like, yeah, I know that guy. So I mean, it was good stuff.
Interesting, but I've heard, and I've just seen a picture, I don't know firsthand, but apparently a while ago they had found what looked like a hammer or a sledgehammer embedded in stone that was hundreds of millions of years old. And like, well, isn't that kind of interesting? It's been trapped within that, yet the technology was already there hundreds of millions of years ago. Or is it time travel or a combination of everything?
You know what? I still say that this is our fourth time around.
What do you mean?
The fourth civilization. This is
way
fourth
beyond
civilization. What we see right now, this reality that we believe is reality. It's not a matrix, I think. But I mean, on the other hand, and that this civilization is the fourth one. There was other ones before dinosaurs.
Yeah, they scrapped them.
I mean, if you go all the way back to the dinosaurs, how many millions of years you want to go back or whatever? But the planet and the universe are billions. So okay, if it was millions is only 1/100th of a billion. Oops.
See, and that's in the physical sense. But I'm loving the science as I love sharing that is scientifically they found that humans are basically energy, vibrational light beings.
Right.
And with that definition of being energy in quantum physics, they found that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. But then I say, but wait a minute, if that means in a very quantifiable, scientific, practical way that we are eternal and we have always been, and yet they perceive this universe has only been here 14.8 billion years, we may not be from this universe. I'll guarantee you we are not originally from, to me, just to my awareness, not originally from this
All right,
universe.
wait a minute. Let's take it from a soul position. I was a dead guy. I was somewhere else. I mean, the organic orgasm, whatever you want to call him, he was out. He was gone. He was finished. And yet I was somewhere else having a great time looking around.
Right.
I mean, but I'm back.
What if that's part of just the interdimensionalization that you're connecting with it? But also, it's that kind of connection that we are eternal beings.
Mhm.
And to me, this is not the only planet with life on it. There are many, and that's just in the solar system. It's like, oh man, it goes way beyond that. But it's also the acclimation of humanity. That's why step by step, they're just going to go, oh, hey, here's this and here's that. And, you know, as things are moving along, they'll start to go, well, there apparently might be technology that we don't know what it is, but we thought it was a threat. So we're going to say there's nothing that exists. And now people are starting to go, what the flag nog? You told us all these years that there's nothing and we must be a nut job. And now all of a sudden you've got this and you're working with some of the technology that they've allowed you to work with. How, you know, again, it's all about presentation.
Well, how about the Mars rocks that they brought back? That they found organic living matter in the rocks.
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
goes way beyond that. What if there's a potential that we've been going to Mars a lot longer,
right?
a lot longer than what they've shared? There
Well,
are organizations and other things that are there. What if there are beings who lived on, kind of like us as humans on this planet? What if there are beings that back in their day, they kind of obliterated themselves, and so a lot of them went underground? Wait a minute, it kind of sounds like this planet.
Yeah, I mean, all of that stuff. I mean, we're sitting here, we're talking to it, and people that are probably listening to this video and that later on are going to go, they're crazy.
Good.
But-
You're going to let crazy till it's validated to go, I'm sure it doesn't exist.
But on the other side of this, who's not to say that some one of those ETs, or many of them, are not here right now?
They are.
Who's to say that some of that DNA that got mixed up with ours, we have a bunch of hybrids walking around?
That's the whole human species.
Ah, baby, you got it. I mean, that is like, you know, when I get into that kind of stuff, and it's like, look out, you know, it's like, ooh, you know, I mean, now you're on my turf over here, you know.
See, but remember, the average person does not want to know too much of the truth. And as we perceive God, that is the creator of all, and it's like, well, certainly, of course, that is the consciousness of awareness. However, what if there are some of our brothers and sisters that are very technologically advanced that were able to create species and humanity in this case?
Yeah. Well, I had a joke in that for some people that I talked to, and I said, do you think there was only one Eve and Adam?
Mag's other podcast that she does, they have a lot of that insight about those people. I'm like, wow, I've been doing this spiritual stuff my whole life, but like 90% of what they share, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Huh. Like, wow. It's very interesting. So a lot of good insight, a lot of practicality for this spirituality stuff.
Well, and the Bible's just very in itself contradictory. You know, Adam and Eve are supposedly the first humans, except for that's just because Lilith was taken out of the Bible. She was with Adam before Eve. So there's that. And then when they ban Lilith, they ban her to the land of Nod, where there's people. Like, so they're obviously not the only people on the planet, you know? And so the contradictions that are, you know, throughout the Bible, like they're just so apparent if you just look clearly and use your deductive reasoning instead of just saying, well, I was always told Adam and Eve were the first people on the planet, instead of just going, well, they threw Lilith out of the Bible. She got banned to somewhere that already had people in it, because we don't even know where the land of Nod is and who was there, but there were people there. So, or some kind of species there, you know. So when you look thoroughly through and through, you've just been fed a bunch of garbage. It's one person's or a few institutional religions' viewpoints on a specific text, and it's always taken out of context. And so you never get the full story. You never get the whole story. Plus, the Bible wasn't even a complete story. It was a compilation of little mini stories that they were tossed them all together. I mean, geez, Louise.
It's text until it's a context.
Until context, right?
You know what the funny one is, and you're right on the spot with that thing. Like, okay, you got two people and they have two kids, Cain and Abel, right?
Okay.
Then Cain kills Abel.
Here's the thing, Bob, awareness, do you know when they perceived that Adam and Eve were born and that was this thousands or hundreds of billions of years? Do they get any indication?
They don't say that. They think, you know what they say? The beginning. I think it's
in the beginning.
Because my thing is genetically, how is that possible if we have Caucasians that we come to, that we have African Americans, that we have Asians, that we have Middle Easterns, that we have all of these different things? Because unless it's, to me, billions or hundreds of millions of years in advance of that, how is it possible scientifically that from one genetic makeup you can have all of these different races?
Genetic mutations, potentially.
Mm-hmm. Or that quickly? Really?
Or E.T. fooling around with DNA.
100%, absolutely. You know, how can you not look at all the humans on this planet and be like, huh, you know, what's going on here? What's happening?
If all DNA was DNA, as DNA is supposed to be, if somebody didn't play with it, in a sense, then it would all be the same and we'd all look like each other.
Well, there are,
for the most part,
there are differentiations to all, you know, blue eyes, green eyes, recessive genes, dominant genes, you know, all of that can be coded in the DNA. I don't know. We could go on and on, but I'm so glad that all three of us agree that we are hybrids in and of itself as a species.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Don't say that to many people, but...
Oh, I say that to anyone who will listen.
No, well, all right. Here's another one. If you ask anybody, you know, anything about solar systems and everything else, that they'll say, well, they read the thing and that there's millions of solar systems around. Okay, I'll give you that one. No problem. But how many universes are there?
Infinity.
See, nobody got an answer. Everybody's like, let me see. Let me look it up in Google. Sorry, dude.
Yeah.
There is,
but again,
there was literally, I'm not kidding you, there was literally more than one universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There are X amount of solar systems per universe.
Right. And so many more universes. Because for me, you know, I share the fact that fairly recently, I was just sitting there at the table. Mag and I just seem to be, I'm a lot of times with her, but on the inside, it was like a huge vacuum, just like, and I'm like, what the flagnog? And so I'm being shown mind sight, the abyss, which is complete blackness. There is no light in any way at all. And then as I'm looking right off down to my right-hand side, what I perceived as lower was what looked like a cylindrical, like a cylinder. And it was all equal light. It was all, there was nothing brighter than another. It was all equal. And I asked Chi, I'm like, Chi, my master guide, what is that? And he's like, that's the universe. I'm like, how is that possible? And why would it be in that shape? Why is it not nebulous or, you know, whatever the case would be? And he's very playful. He's like, well, Jamie, do you have a body? And I said, yes. He's like, just like that. Like it's all within. It is giving shape and awareness. So there is, to me, the awareness that I believe Albert Einstein was saying that if you go and keep going, you'll come back around. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize how that was possible. I thought it was never ending forever. And then being shown, just from my awareness, that's all I can speak about, but it was just fascinating. Just, it was like an inner open vacuum. And I wasn't freaked out because there was one time in my life that I did go to the abyss and there's nothing, no stars, nothing at all, complete blackness. And I started going, you know, I felt like I was in the ocean, like, what the flagnog? Is there something right here? Is it what the? And so as I became uncomfortable, off to my left-hand side opens this circle, a portal, and out comes a golden light. And in that circle were three beings. And I'm like, oh God, that must be the tunnel of light that a lot of people see. I'm like, holy cow. So it was very interesting that just for my awareness, from the fear factor to go, this is too freaky, to becoming the oneness of consciousness, I guess, that I was able to even see. And the universe, as huge as it seems, is like, oh, isn't that cute? Beep. It's a little cylinder. Like, holy cow. And there were apparently many other shapes, many other connections to that.
And you know what? Through all of that, I'm just going to put a little IE on here. Through all of that, it's all love. You won't feel anything else but love.
Every time I expand into the oneness, that's exactly what I feel. It is like the best mood, the best meal you have ever had. My soul feels full. And I'm like, oh my God, as an eternal being, good, bad, happy, sad, however we perceive those realities, completely loved and accepted for who we are.
I've said it on the show and many, many times, and that when you are on the other side, it's like getting hit with a breeze, and the breeze is love.
It is comfort.
It goes right completely through you, and you feel so good. Like I said to one guy, I said, it's like having the best air conditioning in the world, because that's what it feels like. And it's like it's just like you feel like so there's so much joy and love and everything inside of you. I can't even humanly explain exactly what it feels like, but it's like, oh,
and that's the point.
wow.
We just have to be us, just us. It's like, is that too easy? Yeah, it's too easy. Good, let it be easy. It's serious. That kind of feeling that almost everybody who shares that. I always share the fact that I have a lot of clients that are doctors, and almost all of these doctors have said that when a patient codes and they bring them back, usually the first words out of that person's mouth are, "Why'd you bring me back?" Literally. Like, oh my God, they'll say, excuse me, this is the first time I felt understood, that I felt accepted, that I felt the love. And basically almost everyone speaks of similar circumstances. That spiritual experience is different than the psychic experience. To me, the psychic experience is a reference of how you perceive reality and information flowing through. The other is essence. It is all one.
Well, don't forget, my father did throw me out. He told me I had to go back. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
But wait a minute. I left with a rain check.
Don't we all? Exactly.
So,
yes. Hey. But see, that's the point. To me, love of itself already is unconditional. That's why love allows everything to be. I always share the fact the moment that you say it has to be unconditional love, you've just put a condition on it.
You know what's funny too, now when you come back from something like that, you're not the person that left.
Yeah.
You just are not. They're the things, the feelings, the thoughts. I mean, just like
you'll have no choice.
Like you hear people, like when you walk by. I feel people.
Yeah.
When I walk by, and if somebody's been through like a big fight or something like that, I can tell for like good 10 feet.
Notice how you can feel it, though. Not just see it. You
like
feel it.
Feel that like it's like I don't know. You ever make a softball? I mean, not softball, snowball, and you like squeeze it to get like real tight.
Okay.
Well, that's what I feel like when somebody's in that kind of mood.
Nice.
Like
look at how you have a reference of information to refer to. Like, oh, every time it feels like that, it's usually going to be this. You now are creating your Rolodex of information and reading energy. That's beautiful.
And you also see like a blue sky, clouds, and have somebody like feels really, really good. That's like what you feel like. It's like the free, open feeling and things. Very weird.
It's very cool, though, because for me, I share the fact just to my awareness that each dimension has its own vibratory rate and seems just as solid as this one. And I always say, oh, yeah, nothing's solid. It's all vibrational patterns of consciousness, energy, and all that. So I was talking with a gentleman who apparently is from the other side, and he was being channeled. And I asked him, because a lot of people will tend to perceive, if you're not here, then it's just energy and it's just flowing. And to me, I've been aware of different. And I said, so in this case, what is your reality like and where you're at? I'm like, is it solid like this third dimension as we perceive it? And they're like, yep. I thought, right, because that also ties in just to me that I never, ever talk to the dead. There are none. Truly, to me, as we perceive death as you die in this dimension and then you go to the other side after this.
Live energy.
Right. My thing is one, everything's spiritual. Two, life is relative, because I always show the fact that we as humans are extraterrestrials to everyone else. And aren't we right now living on the other side of where we come from before here? So then we must have died, or could it just be a shift in consciousness and vibrational patterns of energy or something like that?
Yeah, that'd be
I
cool.
do know. Yeah. The more I know, the more I know. I don't know nothing, man, but I'll share my perspective.
What about that, Mac?
I think Jamie makes the best vacuum noise I've ever heard. Like, honestly, I'm going to go back and listen to this just to hear that noise twice, because it was wonderful. I agree with everything. It is about love. It is about, just tuning into that frequency. And when you feel it, it changes your life forever, and it will continue to change your life.
Yes.
And every time you tap into a love frequency, no matter what kind of love or what flavor of ice cream of love, or however we want to perceive that,
Love is love.
all it does is it enhances your connection to who you are, and to this innermost part of yourself. We're so often looking for love outside of ourselves or in all the wrong places. I'm sure that was a song. And then we bring it back in and we go back inside. And this is where the integration of love happens. Just like you said, when you come back, you came back a totally different. You felt people more. You were open to their heart space in a different way. And we have to remember that from the heart and from, our own I am presence, this is where we expand even the world. The more love that we can be, not just feel, but that we can be, then we're expanding the world. We're expanding and contributing to everything, to every environment we'll find ourselves in, to every aspect, to every corner of this world, and different dimensions and places and spaces. All of that happens from within. And it is through that fabric of love. It's the fabric of existence through that divine matrix.
Many times, Ned, I've said this before, when you do come back, the things you come back with, or the way you feel, or the way you feel about the earth around you and the people that you're with or people that you meet, you are, like, for instance, all right, when I first started out many, many, many moons ago, like we're talking like 69 to like 75, you want to talk about a salesperson that would go and beat somebody up. I mean, not literally, but I would like
verbally.
You would buy anything from me one way or the other because you were afraid not to. But on the other hand, after that time, and that after my little today with the other side, I came back and I was a different person. I was Mr. Truth. I would tell you if there was something wrong with something or something. I had in New York, all right, in Capital One, I had a room of people, about 60 people that were there, that I was telling them all about, our mortgage services and how we wanted to use them as one of the lenders that we had and everything else. I must have at least 4 or 5 times that had people laughing on the floor because I told them what they were. And okay, I want to use you, but you are. And they knew it. And they didn't tell anybody. And I was the guy, I was the whistleblower, but I did it publicly. And I'm telling you, I did not leave that building without a signed agreement.
Excellent.
And they gave it to me. I didn't ask for it. So you see how you come back? You come back a different person completely. Your mental, the way you actually mentally put yourself in front of people is a whole different thing.
And then you create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Notice you were saying, I just keep going in that direction. It keeps happening. Really, isn't that psychic? You're saying that before it happens? Now it's that,
but you know more than I do. We're all psychic.
Yes. God bless you. Yes.
Okay. Now, whether or not you realize that or turn it on mentally or not mentally or kind of sort of mentally, when you believe you have to believe to the soul level that you can do this.
And then you get enough solidness, you'll shift your belief system to a knowing system.
Exactly.
With confidence, not cockiness. Confidence.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well,
and be able to hold that reality. It's not easy.
You know what that's like? Now we do. Oh, come on, you did this when you were a kid. You got to get a record on a record player, okay? And it's on 33.
Uh-huh.
See how it sounds in 45.
Yeah. Yeah, huh?
Okay,
Isn't it? It tends to play on the channel.
That's what you're doing with your feelings, or
Yeah.
that's what you're doing with your intuitive feelings and things. You're going 33, 45, and I was a jerk.
And
78.
Yeah, I was just going to go. It goes way beyond that. Exactly. But to be able to hold this reality, this spiritual stuff into
Mhm.
our lives. Otherwise, if you're not able to fit it in some way, you start feeling like a nut job. Like, oh my God, what the, huh? And that's why I'm like, this is so natural. It's supernatural. Everyone can do it. Everyone's had a gut feeling before it happened that seemed to play out in some way. I'm like, that's psychic. You had information before it played out. What if they were tapping into the quantum field and realizing out of all these experiences that are happening now and all the potential outcomes, but they tapped into the most connected with a reality.
It's
on
also
that
a learning
quantum.
moment.
Always,
I mean,
always.
you have
Yes.
to remember that moment. I mean, how many people have felt that there was something going to happen in New York on 9/11?
I was
I mean, seriously. I mean, if you were really, really, really going to check that out, I'm telling you, a lot of people had
it
this
was
funny feeling.
It was very interesting. Many years ago, I used to work at a place called Marriott Camelback Inn. It was some of my training grounds. And there was a time I was walking the foyer, and it's just a big hallway kind of thing. And there was a number of pictures. Well, one of the pictures had that Space Needle thing that was, circle and then a big pointy thing.
Mm.
And in my mind sight, I saw what it was, a freaking plane that ran into that building. And I'm like, oh, crap. And thankfully that didn't happen. But however, a number of years later, that similar circumstance where a plane going into, in this case, the trade centers, demolished all of that stuff. And I always refer back to that to go, it was like I was seeing a literal picture. My eyes were open and I was seeing this plane hit that. And so thankfully it didn't do that. But what if on a quantum level, I was potentially picking up those circumstances connected to it? I didn't have a lot of clarity as to what it was. I just saw in my awareness how that could play out, that a plane could hit a building and possibly destroy it.
You know, when I was a kid, a plane hit the Empire State Building and stuck in it.
When was that? That was like 100 years ago, though.
Well, I'll have to look that one up. But I remember seeing it on TV. I was like, whoa.
Oh, well, I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah, but it was a small plane. It wasn't a big plane.
And it was an accident. It wasn't a terrorist attack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
No, it was an accident. Yeah, definitely. And, out of all those things that happened in New York, I mean, let's face it. I mean, if somebody's going to go at like 400 or 500 miles an hour into a building, obviously you're going to make a lot of damage. And that's what they wanted to do. I don't think they thought they were going to, collapse two buildings. For some reason that it just keeps running through my mind over and over and over again. They were into damage. They were not into annihilation. Not that they wouldn't like it, but they didn't figure on it.
What if, and of course I'm sure it's not there, but what if there was already things set up that would boom?
Oh, I
and
know that
it
one.
allowed those buildings to just collapse on itself.
Well, don't forget, they already had to be a controlled drop of the buildings. Because if those buildings fell anywhere, could you imagine how far
Boom. It
the
would have hit
buildings-
all of the, yes,
half
exactly.
of Manhattan would have been gone?
Yep.
So they
And
planned,
yet,
if anything ever happened, like an earthquake or anything like that, and the buildings had to come down, they would come down. Look, how many times do you see buildings blown up and they just go, you know what I mean? If you put all the things that are going to blow up in the right place, they're just going to go whoop, down. Both buildings went straight down.
yeah.
And everybody says, well, and that's because of the weight, because of this. They are full of the giant S word.
But if you're told something enough, people on average will be like, oh, they're saying it. It must be real. It must be true. Like, well, that's kind of what I feel like has been acclimation of humanity. That's why I try not to get too irritated at the manipulation of humanity because, I share the fact to go, here's how easy it is. Here's who you're going to vote for. Oh, okay. Not other aspects. It's these are the people that are being chosen for you to vote for.
Do you know how many souls were actually there and waited around after the buildings fell. There was a psychic that I had talked to in New York, not too maybe a month after than that. And this woman that came up to me and she says, "Oh, she says, you know about the buildings." Now, the buildings I had been into many times, many times. Anything that's got to do with hunting or anything, you got to go there for your licenses. So I mean, I was up and down in those buildings, all 88 floors up. No big deal. You should come down those elevators.
I bet.
Anyway, the woman turned around to me and she said, did you see any souls?" And I said to her, I said, "Huh?" And she said, "Souls." At that time, that's a long time ago. And I had forget
Not
about
the soles on your shoes.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, not that spiritual what? Huh? It's I was
So
into
what did she say?
peace, peace, love, flowers, okay.
Yeah,
So
flower child.
through all that stuff, and this woman was explaining to me like how all of lower Manhattan, there were souls watching what was going on down by the buildings until it was finished. Then they left. And I was like, "Ghosts?" And she said, "No, spirits." And I said, "Well,
What's the difference?
aren't spirits ghosts?" And she said, "No, that's the soul. Their souls. Their actual souls were there. Their spirit was there." And I was like,
Huh, very
And this
interesting.
was a lady. This was a lady. She was up by, I forget what, 70 something street or something like that. And then she had like a little shop and then up there, and she used to read, give readings and all this kind of crazy
And was
stuff.
she tapping into the location, or was she sharing the fact that some of the souls were coming to her to share, or how did that work for her?
Location. She was just coming back. As a matter of fact, when I met her, that she had just got off a bus from that area.
I will say that energy residue, the ethers, is more solid than matter. I share the fact that just for me, I did a TV show many years ago called America's Psychic Challenge. And we had to go into an insane asylum, which we were not told anything about anything. So when we're walking up, all I saw was a big sign that said hospital. I thought, okay, it's just a regular hospital. Well, as we were pulling in that case, it was I could hear screaming. I was being shown people that were murdered by people who apparently worked at that hospital thing.
Yeah.
And it was freaking wild. So I had to kind of pull out, because when I walked in, it was so saturated with so many soul prints of consciousness that energy was just going around. And I was telling the host, John Burke, as we were going through, because they wouldn't say anything, not to give any clues in any way, but I kept saying, well, my master God is showing me One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's weird, but I don't know why. And then realizing, oh my God. Yeah, but I didn't realize until after the testing was done to go, okay, now they could share something, because they were very tight-lipped. They were not going to say, which I love. They weren't going to say anything in any way. They want to see what you got. Hey, you don't know this place. What do you pick up? Anything? Nothing? What? And so thankfully I was pretty accurate with it. And when I got to the doors, because there was like 30 rooms and we had to target a soul person who was sitting in one of the rooms. And he was, in this case, it was a he was sequestered so that no one could hear anything or any of that. And I was drawn through, and I did an energy vibe to go, well, that right side of the hospital is nothing. So I just kind of went like that. And I continued to go to the left. Well, as I was doing that, I came around the corner and there's these two doors there. And I'm like, I'm being drawn strongly. So I got up to both the doors as I'm standing in front of them. And, you could say anything if you don't have validation. But as I was standing there looking at the doors, because I was trying to vibe, which one is this person in? And as I'm looking my mind sight, the door on the right is opened. Well, it wasn't open when I was freaking physically looking at it. And I chose the other door, and the person that was in the room was the first one that the door was shown to be open. And so, now it's like you could say anything, but had I chosen the other thing, I was already reading the potential integration of that person's soul print, that it wasn't that room that I was picked up on, it was the other room. Because what I feel like could have been happening is whoever the occupants were of that particular room that I picked up was intensified strong enough to where I picked it up enough to where I thought, oh, that's this person. And it wasn't.
But the thing was that I always think that when you're in a situation like that the persons that's there or the soul or the energy is watching you.
Oh, they are. They are.
Watching you. They actually know, or they know your presence. They know, in fact, they even know who you is.
Usually, and unless you're dealing with organizations where you're trained to become like a ninja, where people cannot soul trace your energy through the ethers. Do not kid yourself. Governments and other organizations, law enforcement, use our abilities. They're not stupid. No, there's nothing, really. We're some of the first people they come to. Like, yeah, you're only a nut job till it's validated. No, I'm sure nothing's there.
You know,
That's why I love these scientific studies and all of that. Put the practicality to
even through all those. Look, you're real. There's a lot of guys that just ain't there yet.
And the good thing is, in an offhanded way, they only make us look better. Going, right, freaking question everything, but you'll feel it. You'll feel if that person's making those connections. And they love you. It's like, that's general.
Because of this show, in the last, let's just say from Christmas till now, okay? I must have heard from at least 60 or 70 psychics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And just calling to share, or what were
all over the world. They all wanted, half of them want to get on the show and things. And then of course, I Google them. And then, when you start reading this stuff, after a while, you get so good at.
You can feel it.
Yeah, you can not feel them, but you can see by their words, by the way they talk, by the way they put their what they call them, string their sentence together. You know what I mean? Are they selling? Are they giving? Or are they educating you? If it educated you, then you'd want to know more. Instead of that, there's a selling point, and there's, you're going to be rich. Or you're going to find the love that you never found. Who said I wanted one? all those things that they come in that you gotta read through the thing and that. But I tell everybody all the time, and that if you want a reading and you want to know exactly what's going to happen in the rest of your life, get on this show. And as soon as we're back live again, then I'll see more in the graph. But my graph is it's just flat.
It's kind of cool, but connecting with that with the psychic, and again, everyone can do it. But there was a particular person that I was reading for who is a friend now. And many years ago, she came to me, and she was with her husband then. And she came to me asking me, what do you see for my future and all of that. And I started giving her information, go, well, I know it's crazy, but I keep picking up that you'll probably have at least 12 houses and that there'll be some millions of dollars that you'll have, and you'll have some abundance. She's like, okay. Well, a number of years later, her husband graduates, life dies as we perceive it. And there was a few $1 million that was the benefit of that. Plus, she does have more than 12 houses. She rents those out. So they're all paid for. Some of them are beautiful. Some of them look like $1 million mansions. So to me, it's some decent cash. But the cool thing is that was many years in advance before. My thing is, as a psychic, we're just the quantum road sign. If you take this direction, here's most likely the outcome. Here's this direction, here's that outcome. Do you like it? What do you want to choose? Because you're the one who's going to live it. We just become good at a road sign going, if you continue this way, kind of like the road sign on California, it'll take you about 6 hours to get to that point. And that's all you can do because there is no time. It's all happening right here, right now. Even though it was years in advance, it was playing out now as if it was already there.
I got a question because somebody, I've been getting emails for the last couple of weeks too. There's been at least 6 or 7 of them that were pretty good. They wanted to know, that is there any way, or is it possible for you to tell us, the audience, anything about the future? Now, I turned around to them and I said, you know what? I can't tell you what I'm doing in 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So how can they tell you what you're going to be doing in 20, and not you, but the future in 20 years?
Again, I'm sure it's not there. However, I share the fact that a few years ago, I was shown a vision in my mind that as I was being shown it, and it was anything that I've ever seen psychically as clearly as I can that has happened, this other scene that I was shown was even more clear than anything I've ever been shown before. And so as I was just dropped into my mind, I'm seeing it mind sight wise, everything I was looking at was burnt. there was nothing standing but the mountains. So whatever this is doesn't obliterate everything.
You did tell me that once.
Yeah.
I remember.
And the number's 2029, and they never fluctuated. It was that clear above every scene that I was shown. I'm like, oh my God. So I hope it doesn't happen. However, I will just say anything that if I've ever said anything before it happened and then it happened, this was even more clear.
Want to be funny? Want
Yeah.
to be funny about this? You said 2029? Okay.
Mhm.
Check it out. Look at, let's do some logistics here for a second.
Okay.
Biden is over at 24. Right?
Right.
Okay. Make believe. And I'm saying hypothetically, Trump wins and he's in for 4 years. That brings you to 20. That brings you 4 hours. It could be. He already had the paperwork for an impeachment in 4 hours after he said I do.
Yeah. Huh.
But the thing was, that would be Trump would be over in 28. So then somebody else in 28 would have to be voted in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's anything like the present we're in, and it came to 29 would be the year that all these entities that are around us that want America crushed, that would be the time to do it. Because they wouldn't do it while Trump was there. They would be more or less. Trump would be the wall in between the good and the bad.
That's why he wanted to build it. Hey.
Well, he would be the spiritual savior. Let's just put it that way. And I don't mean this in a human manner or to say anything nice about the guy, but when he was in, nobody was killed in a war. There was no war started. The Ukraine was not invaded. Nobody was invaded. China had no idea of taking, any, countries or anything like that until this administration got in and said, I don't care what happens in the world. Who cares? Go ahead, do it. Hey, listen, you want to do that? I'll give you some bombs. Go ahead, do that. But I'm serious. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that's going on now. But now, if somebody came in, like left, like when gas was $1.89 a gallon, not $4.89.
Yep.
If he comes back in, then everything will stop for 4 hours, 4 years, 4 hours. Amazing. It's in my mind. I swear to God.
Twice.
But for 4 years, everything will stop. But the guys that are doing whatever they're doing right now are going to be pissed off in 4 years after they didn't get to do what they wanted to do now or in 24. So they had to put it off until this other guy was gone permanently. Now, whomever comes in 28, that's the person. That is the what do they say? The reincarnation of Satan.
Oh, interesting.
Look at your Bible. Look at Revelations and all these things, man. You got to get into read.
Yeah.
If you really see that, because they said there's 1,000 years or 1,000 days or whatever it is of peace and everything else, and then if we don't continue what we're doing, and we don't continue being I love me, I am unconditional love. If you don't continue those things and don't believe in those things anymore, you're like opening up the dams to the water, to the ocean. And the ocean is the trouble. All the things that we said we never wanted to have happen to us could. And the could is getting more pressing now than ever. And they always say it's going to get worse before it gets better. So you got about another year, something like that, before things start getting a little sour.
Yeah.
But you got to ground yourself, and you have to grit and bear it, I guess.
And keep going. Keep doing you.
Yeah, don't stop.
And as things are changing, right, will hopefully evolve into the new awareness of what needs to be accomplished in order to get into this new reality. Because, for me, it's just a very interesting oddball feeling that just to my awareness, no matter what greatness could be going on in this life, boop, it's going to be done like that. And like half of because I asked Chi, I'm like, Chi, because I didn't know where this place was at, but whatever I was looking at that was burnt was not in the United States. But what I was shown, just from my awareness and chi sharing, is on the West Coast, there's going to be a double earthquake. One earthquake will trigger the other, shift the tectonic plates, and it'll slide in. Now, for some reason, the East Coast has a huge tidal wave that is going to wash over the coast. I have no idea, except that it's at least like 30 or 40 stories. And it's a weird thing going. If you're in that area in any way, you're done. There's nothing. Nothing you're going to be able. Yeah, done.
I said the same thing. I mean, it's like a wave, but I mean, like what I saw was the mean stuff, the not good stuff. All the stuff that we wanted to stay away from and didn't want any part of is going to come in, and we can't stop it. Just like you just said about the water. You can't stop water. They get that much water, you're dead. You're toast.
Yeah, and it's not going to just be one state, apparently. It's going to be across the board for the most part on that East Coast.
But in love and our own intuitive selves into what we do every single day, not planning, just doing. Because planning will get you in trouble all the time anyway. I don't know what it is. I mean, I can't plan to take my lunch to whatever. but I mean, seriously, if you just keep doing what you're doing and think pure thoughts as much as you possibly can, not complicated or anything, simple, like you're going to yawn. Go ahead.
See, I keep it. That's the thing is I keep it simple, keep it easy. I always share the fact that to me, it takes no more energy to send love and light to a person than to the all that is. Why not? That's everywhere, nowhere, everywhere in between, and everywhere beyond, and beyond my comprehension of what that could be. That is just because I want to, because I can, because I choose to.
And this just popped in my head. There was a reading that you, Maggie, did to somebody a couple of shows ago. And somebody at work had listened to all the shows, and they said, "Man, she was doing that for me." I don't know exactly what it was, the whole thing, but whatever it was, whatever you said, whatever you told this person
to other people
is what this other person wound up doing.
Beautiful
work.
Yeah,
excellent.
Beautiful.
That was weird. I mean, I tell everybody, if you listen to the shows, the energy that's inside the shows, and what the things that you get from a show just by feeling it. And you feel good, too, when these are done, because we say things that people don't know. We open people's minds into things that they did know but didn't know they knew. And so the possibilities are absolutely different. Your woman show that you have, Maggie, is incredible. I mean, it's good. It's really, I mean, I'm sorry, man. I'm not.
It is a good show, yeah.
Now listen, I'm not a woman, no way. But I'm serious. I mean, I listen to that show every once in a while. I plug it into the car.
Well, you don't have to be a woman to appreciate the divine feminine energy. Everyone could benefit from the show.
Most people don't even question to go, do you really think that in all the other lifetimes you've only been just a male or only just a female? Or right? Could we realize?
Did anybody know you get a choice, man, when you come back? I mean, nobody gets it. I say that to somebody and said, "Oh well, what do you got to go under the knife?" No, you schmuck. Your soul could come back one time and then you're a woman, and another time you come back as a man. Your job is to learn
and experience. Yes,
right, experience. Now there's an XX and an XY. If there's one in the middle, give me a break. But you got two, XX and XY. One of the two, you're going to come back, one way or the other, and you're not going to have any choice. Excuse me. But anyway, hello. But anyway, the thing is, when you are there and you're going to come back. Now, I was given an instruction to leave. Okay, but I've heard that people were giving a choice. As a soul, you can choose your parent. You can choose where you want to be, what you want to be, who you want to be. You can even add about what type of person you want to be when you come back. The idea is to learn.
We were talking about the astrology, and I've been always amazed and impressed to go, on average, a person who has that kind of particular sign has a lot of those qualities and characteristics. I'm like, well, what if that's another addition to that is you literally create your life by the stars. You can literally come in with that particular sign that has a lot of those qualities and let it emanate just by choosing the alignment of those planets.
Or depending upon when you want to be born.
Yeah, that's the point. Exactly. Because it is the alignment of planets. Those times will create this. And here's this sign that gives you those qualities, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm a Taurus, and they're going to get rid of bowls because they fart. So, hey, listen, I'm so far out of here. It isn't funny. Like, ding.
That's excellent.
And to go back to the listeners' questions when they emailed you, how can you actually read into the future? It really does tie into what we've been discussing. When you see as all time is happening now, there is not a past, present, and future. There are just potential realities in a quantum divine matrix. So if you think of a matrix field or an energetic field, it's just a probability of how energy plays itself out. Now, whether that's astrological and you see it through that lens, or you see it through the lens that you have, Jamie, as a psychic, of reading energy, everybody has a lens and everybody is psychic. Everyone can look through their own lens or develop qualities of different lenses to be able to perceive potential realities. And it really is all times happening now. So everyone can tap into the potentials that are there.
One guy asked me, and and I had a good time writing him back, believe me. I'm not going to tell you what I wrote, but boy, I got him. But the guy said to me, he says, well, if you're that good, can you tell me when I'm going to die? Oh, did I give it to him? Because let's face it, we pick when we're going to we don't pick when we're going to, look, let's face it. I said to him, look, you're born to die. I said, did you know that? I said, you are born, you are put on this earth to die. There's no way you're going to get away from it. You can't pay for anything. You can't get away. You can't barter your way out of this. I mean, you can't move to an island somewhere and then say, hey, nobody's going to, forget about it, boy. When the grafter comes for you, man, you're gone just like that. Poof. I said, the one thing I said you shouldn't do, and I was nice. I let him down kind of sort of. And I said to him, don't be afraid of dying. I said, it's beautiful. I said, maybe dying the moment you die is
the way
you're going to die may not be the greatest. But I said, when you're gone and when you let go, I said, of this whole life that you have now, I said, it is beautiful. And I said, if you have a choice to come back, or if they think you have a choice to come back, I said, do it. I said, we're here to learn. You're here to learn. What I'm telling you is making you learn. Now, learn what I learned to you. And when you do that, I said, you will be smarter. And the guy wrote me back the next day. He said, wow. Now, this is what I pictured this guy sitting on a chair somewhere, and then with a little doobie in his hand, and they're going,
wow. That's good, dude.
I swear, not being nasty. If he listens to this later on, and if he listens to this thing, I'm talking about you, dude.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it was just too good, But I'm telling you, all of us, I'm a little. We got Anonymous is still here, by the way, and that they're still listening. Two of them.
Cool.
So you know what? Just for the hell of it. Hey, Anonymous, do you have something to say on the show?
Hi.
Go ahead. Hi, who's this?
Yes. Hi, this is Nikki. I have a question for Jamie and Maggie. I'm so glad you brought up, you shared about the vision you had in 2029. I have listened to some of your episodes, podcast episodes, and they are amazing. For those of you out there listening who haven't checked out Jamie and Maggie's podcast, check them out, because it is filled with so much insight, knowledge, and just so much information. My question has to do with, not with 2029, but there's another year that keeps popping up into my mind. And I'm not sure if it has any significance for me personally or as for the world. The year 2025 keeps just coming back into my mind. And I'd like to know A, do you see any specific events in my life personally? And B, can you give us, the viewers, like any insight on what you see globally in the year 2025? Thank you so much.
What if just a potential contributing factor is our brothers and sisters from other planets, other worlds? Again, just from my awareness, I share the fact that more than likely this year, 2023, is the acclimation of that potential. So there'll be a lot of different videos, but mainly two subjects: religion and ETs. They're not silly, because when our brothers and sisters are standing before us, religion as you know it is gone. Now, they're not silly. Again, just a potential. I'm sure it won't happen. However, what if, there's a gentleman, I believe his name is the Pope. They call him the Pope. And I believe he said that we may not be alone in the universe. They're not silly. They're not going to just lose that pattern, because when our brothers and sisters are standing before us, and my awareness is this is only one species that's been created. There are a lot of other species that are even on this planet right now, that are on the inner earth as we perceive it. So anyhow, within that, what was your question as I'm rambling?
Anything for her personally in 2025?
I'm not getting, but
in 2025.
yeah, as a world connection, I do feel like there's a strong unification of that, which has a strong potential to be along those lines. Because I will share the fact that a lot of our brothers and sisters are very technologically advanced. As we've been here for a while, it's like, isn't that cute? We're kind of like the cavemen compared to what they really have. It's amazing. Amazing. I will just say there's a potential. That's one of the parlaying aspects, because, excuse me, once 2029 is there, a lot of this planet is going to be affected. Not everything, at least half of it, though, from what Chi, my master guide, let me know. So there's going to be a lot of soul searching over the next few years. That's why it's going to be placed in different ways to go, what kind of reality do you want to accept? What do you feel like you want to connect with? And Mag's doing a read here real quick, and I will be back in just 1 minute.
So for 2025, I just threw down some energetic cards. Like what's the energy going to feel like for you specifically? What pops up as a focus is the Fool. And when the Fool pops up, this is about a whole brand new reality, a whole brand new way of existence, of perceiving the world, of flowing into the world. It's really connecting into your own cosmic egg to pull realities out of nothing into something. So there's something really brand new coming for you in 2025, I would say. You are building, you will be building on a sense of emotional security, which is really nice, a nice foundation there. We do have the Two of Pentacles here. So this is something where it connects either the law of cause and effect, like something you put into motion many years prior that comes back to you. And you're like, oh, that's how it's coming back. I put this intention out here years ago. And then finally you're seeing a reaction point, or it could be that, and or drawing in a soul connection to you, like a super, super strong soul connection. It'll be brand new, not someone that you've met yet, not your children or anyone that's in your field yet. It'll be brand new because the Fool is your focus, and it will just shift you. It's one of those very profound connections. The energy to use is just to keep expanding consciously. So this can come about, whatever that looks like. And the outcome is the Emperor, which means it's a time where you become more safe, more confident, more secure. You're like building new foundations from this new reality. So there you go for 2025, a little bit of an energetic read. We'll see in 2025 how that fits in your life, but I hope that helps you in some way.
Yes. The soul connection that you mentioned, is that what kind of, is that like a romantic soul connection, or what
it can be,
like
that can be, yeah, that could be any kind of soul connection. It could be a friend that you meet. It could be a lover. It could be a relationship. It could be a child. It could be any type, because the Two of Pentacles it is a law of cause and effect, but it also connects you to soul family and to drawing soul pods and soul family together. And so it's not very clear. None of the other cards give me any indication of what type of relationship it would be.
Okay.
Yeah. But you'll know it when you feel it.
And possibly if you haven't been thinking like in the past year of either moving or unless you have moved, I'll just say don't be surprised. If you don't ever want to move, certainly don't. But if you don't want to move, don't be surprised if a number of people, not just one, but a number are like, it's weird, but are you moving? I don't know why. I just feel like you're moving. It's really strong in your energy. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. So it doesn't have to be that challenges happen to move. But if you haven't been thinking about moving, I'll just say don't be surprised if it drops into your mind before 2025.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Now, anybody else in there? Any other anonymous? I heard that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I have no idea. Someone's pushing buttons. Ho!
That's the other anonymous.
Oh, cool. There you go. Good. Perfect. Bob, it's always good, man. And
Hey, dude, you got 10 seconds. Go ahead.
nope. That's funny. Turned into my parents, man.
They're going to the beat of the music, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for tuning in.
Definitely. Bob, always great, man. Next time we might get into a little bit of the quantum field and deja vu and familiarity of souls and a few other things.
Oh, yes, we will. And you never know who might pop in the show next time.
Cool. Yeah, bring them, man. That would be awesome.
Are we good or what?
Yeah, heck yeah, you are.
All right, to everybody out there, you know what? Shows like this are the ones that you want to listen to. The reason why you want to listen to is because you need it. This humanity needs it. This world needs it. We need it. So therefore, think to yourself. Unconditional love is something that we all have. Whether or not you use it is up to you. If you say, I love me, or I am, you will learn that unconditional love is what you are made of. God bless y'all. Bob Charles. Out!